Well, let's add the new variable that I promised you. For example, should I draw now? And we are really going to draw only when this variable tells us to. Some of my students think that we could not let a variable sit alone in an if like this, so they add a check, is the variable equal to true, which is really strange for me because this is a Boolean variable and its values could be true or false, and when we check whether it's equal to true, the result will again be true or false. So if we need to check whether a Boolean is equal to true, then we can add one more brackets, and the Boolean inside of those brackets should be checked whether it is equal to true. Of course, this could be done infinitely many times, and each of these steps is not needed. A Boolean can sit alone just like this, and it's fine. So what I need to do now is add a curly brackets around the drawing of a rectangle, and after them I might say should I draw now to be equal to false. And also in the other code that will going to be executed when I should not draw, should I draw now should become true. So if I should draw, I change it to false and I draw the current rectangle. In the opposite case, I'm prepared to draw on the next step, and perhaps this is everything I needed to do. Or perhaps I needed an initial value for this variable. You can see that my code isn't working as good as I wanted. And should I draw now needs an initial value, but not only in the beginning of the application, not only in the beginning of my code, but also in the beginning of each line of squares. For example, if here we are ready to start with a value of true, then on each line I should start with the different value for it. This is kind of a difficult problem, and one really crazy solution for it, which I bet you don't understand why does it work, is to change the number of squares on a line. If I change it to an odd number, strangely my chessboard is fine, or kind of fine, because now it has 9 columns. There is one more change that I can do. What if I change this place where I choose the number of lines to be also less than 9 instead of 8, or any other odd number like 7 or 11? Well, now my code is going to work even more stranger. As you can see, on each drawing exactly the opposite cells are drawn than those of the previous draw. I can change this if I add a line of code like this or this here, and I want you to experiment with this yourself. I want you to finish all of those modes and then try with a much more simpler condition to check. Here the condition that checks the sum of x and y and whether this sum is odd or even. And this is your task 2 of your homework. You also have a lot of other tasks about the chessboard and experimenting with it. And also I'm giving you 3 tasks about our game, which will become a shooter and much easier because you can change the distance between the enemies to 120 pixels. I want you also to make the enemies not always on the same Y, but on a different random Y for each new wave of enemies. So the number that we were adding here, or we gave as an initial value here, should be a variable, should not be 50 or 0, but instead should be a variable. This is your homework, and good luck.